Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. Salam Ramadan Al-Mubarak. So today we are going to learn on the topic of ethics and environment. So at the end of this session, you will be able to explain what is environmental ethics. You will be able to discuss the approaches to environmental ethics, as well as you can explain the importance of sustainable development. Okay, so what is environmental ethics? Environmental ethics is a branch of philosophy concerning the relation of human beings and the environment. The keywords adalah hubungan manusia dengan alam sekitar. So the idea was first introduced by Aldo Leopold in 1950 in his essay The Land Ethics. So land ethics ini adalah satu theoretical framework on how humans should treat the land ethically, and dari sinilah the idea of environmental ethics derived. So basically it is an applied or practical ethics offering an understanding to a general duties and values to the nature. Maksudnya, what are our duties in preserving and maintaining our nature? So it is a system for determining the correction action with regards to the natural world, either in specific situation or as a general approach to environment. In the case of dealing with environment or environmental issues, environmental ethics ni, it teach us on what should we do, what step we should take, what action needed, and what are the best approach in dealing with nature, especially in preserve or at the time when natural disaster or environmental imbalance occurs. So, environmental ethics, it believes that human is a part of the society as well as other creatures such as animals and plants. As we live in a society, of course we need each other and we should treat each other very well. So the creatures are important to human beings in order to become functional. Thus, it is essential for human beings to deal with others with respect and honor by using ethics when dealing with their environment. So bayangkan bila kita tak treat our nature well, kita tebang pokok sana sini dengan rapid developmentnya lagi, sampai satu masa pokok-pokok dah kurang, where can we get oxygen untuk hidup? Macam mana pula tentang nasib our future generation, dan banyaklah juga benda-benda yang pupus termasuk human. Sebabnya dah tak ada lagi natural resources untuk kita teruskan hidup. So, environmental ethics ni, it is a study which it study the ethical question raised by human relation with non-human environment. So ada beberapa persoalan raised in environmental ethics, which are what are the things in the environment is valuable. Okay, for sure, all living things and non-living things in the world are valuable lah. So the second question is how and why they are valuable. So diorang ni valuable sebab apa? The next question is how we ought to consider these values in deliberation about principles, action, practice and law. So if environment are valuable, how kita use law to preserve it, manage it, so that the usage of environmental sources are balanced, tak akan berkurang and does not give negative impact to the nature. So any action taken related to environment adalah based on how much we value the environment. Okay, so environmental ethics ni, it concern about human beings ethics relationship with natural environment. So it raises some more question macam tadi, the question about how the environment give its value to us kan. But this the concern on kita punya duty, human punya duty terhadap environment and why human have such a duty. A relatable definition of such relationship is a must. By answering kedua-dua soalan, nanti kita akan sedar bahawa environment ni, it creates values that benefit us, and it is our duties to preserve the nature so that kita akan saling melengkapi each other. Dan dari situ juga kita akan sedar yang manusia ni taklah hebat mana, sebab kita pun hamba yang lemah. So we still need to depending on others untuk meneruskan kehidupan kita. So moving to the next slide, which is environmental justice. So, environmental justice is the fair treatment and meaningful involvement of all people, regardless of colors, race, national origin, or income, with respect to the development, implementation, enforcement of environmental laws, policies, and regulation. So, kat sini dia kata fair treatment to all, tanpa kira kaum ataupun apa-apa sajalah. So, tidak ada orang yang akan terkecuali dari tidak terlibat atau obligated to the law, policy and regulation in preserving atau protect our environment. So semua orang akan share their responsibility together. So basically there are two category of justice involving the environmental environment, which are distributive and participative justice. So what is distributive justice? So distributive justice, it concerns the allocation of burden and benefits in the society. So the burden and the benefit should be fair, sama rata. For example, ada kes pembalakan haram yang berlaku in Malaysia. So orang yang buat pembalakan haram dekat Pahang, dia kena denda 100,000. Tapi orang yang buat pembalakan haram kat Johor kena denda 10,000. So unfair lah, 100,000 dengan 10,000. So another example, kalau government izinkan untuk some person atau company lakukan pembalakan, adakah hasil daripada pendapatan dari pembalakan itu berbaloi dengan efek yang dirasai oleh society? So kalau berbaloi, then it is fair lah. Kalau tak, it is unfair. So participative justice, kiranya in making policy, those who are affected should be involved. Sama kes macam pembalakan tadi, kalau kerajaan nak isytihar satu kawasan hutan simpan tu sebagai kawasan untuk pembalakan atau pertanian, so government kena consider that any effect yang boleh berlaku. Contohnya, ada tak penempatan terdekat yang akan terlibat? Contohnya, ada penempatan orang asli dan sebagainya ataupun perkampungan yang akan terlibat efek daripada kegiatan itulah. So government need to consider those who are affected. So, how race, color, national origin, and income affect your view and practice towards the environment? So, these are the things that you need to think about lah. So, values. So, values are enduring belief that influence choices actors make from available means to achieve their desired end. So, from the available means and resources yang kita ada, we will determine which one is valuable based on our needs. Contohnya kita kata pokok balak ada value sebab kita perlukan kayu untuk sektor pembinaan. Kita perlukan juga sayur-sayur and buah-buahan untuk sektor makanan. So the natural resources are being determined by the needs of the people lah. So environmental ethics ni is all about the values. Bila kita kata those resources are needed to fulfill our needs and keperluan, then kita tak boleh sewenang-wenangnya gunakan sampai habis. Sebab itu ada penanaman semula. Kita tak nak one day the valuable resources kita habis macam tu je. So why are values important in environmental ethics? So uh, in determining which sources are valuable so that we will be able to manage it, preserve it, take care in proper ways so that it will continuously available for the sake of the human being as well as the nature balance. So there are two types of values in environment. The first one is intrinsic value, and the second one is instrumental values. So what is intrinsic value? So intrinsic value is the value an entity has in itself. How is the environment valued intrinsically? So kita ada subjective and objective intrinsic values. For the subjective intrinsic values, it is based on humanly comfort. So it is valued for what it is and not what it brings in, which it exists depending on human valuing. So something has intrinsic value if it is valued for what it is, rather than for what it can bring about. So subjective intrinsic value uh, is created by valuer through their evaluative attitudes or judgment. For example, artifact or fossil. Artifact ataupun fosil. Fosil ni kalau human tak value the fossil, dia hanyalah tulang, tulang binatang biasa lah. But bila human value it, then it is valuable. Um, okay, for objective intrinsic values, it is basically not humanly comfort. So it has the properties and features in virtue in which it is valuable independent of anyone's attitude or judgment. So if something has objective intrinsic value, it has properties or features in virtue of which it is valuable independent of anyone's attitude or judgment. So this is typically thought to be the case with respect to the value of person. For example, people have value in virtue of what they are, not because other value them. Their value is not conditional. If species and ecosystem have objective intrinsic value, then their value is discovered by human value, not created by them. Okay, for example, orang hutan. Orang hutan ni dia sendiri ada value itself. Tapi sebab orang hutan hampir pupus, so human value it sebab dia nak pupus. So the proponent of intrinsic value believe that it provide crucial justification and practice of conservation, biology, ecosystem management. The goals must be justified to the appeal of the value of the species and environment. Okay, instrumental values. So instrumental value is the value that something has a means to a desired or valued end. It is derivative on the values of something else and always conditional. Instrumental values fluctuates based on changes in desirability of the means and dependent on whether there is a more efficient alternative and means available. Thus, it is replaceable and compensable. For example, kita kita pergi memancing ataupun nelayan memancing menggunakan joran. So joran tu ada dia punya instrumental value in which it will help the nelayan to catch fish. So but one day bila orang jumpa jala ataupun pukat ataupun ada teknologi untuk tangkap ikan yang lebih moden, so orang tak pakai joran dah. So joran itu diganti dengan something yang boleh gain more fish. Jadi the value of joran itu akan hilang sebab joran itu diganti dengan jala atau pukat which is more effective and give more benefit. So instrumental value ni something yang boleh diganti, something yang replaceable. Okay. For the approaches to environmental ethics, so the main debate in environmental ethics is about how nature should be valued. This is according to Thomson 2001. Therefore, the approach to nature helps humans in understanding nature. Approach is a way of dealing with a situation or a problem. It is a way to understand an extension of ethics to nature. So kita ada beberapa approach to environmental ethics. The first one is anthropocentrism. So anthropocentrism ni the basic approach to understand nature morally as how nature is treated affect human. So how we treat nature will give effect to us. It is a human-centered perspective of the environment. Thus, human has dominion over nature. So, anthropocentrism, the belief that human is more important or dominate than nature. This is based on humanism, which is the Western ethical tradition, which assume that only human beings and their interests are ethically considerable. So, anthropocentrism is the belief that value is human-centered and that all other beings are means to human end. So, they believe that alam sekeliling kita adalah bernilai when if give benefit to us. So, they believe that alam sekitar adalah bernilai sebab alam sekitar memberikan benefit, memberikan manfaat kepada kita. So, the environmental crisis takes place when it claims that humans are separate and superior to nature and only humans have intrinsic values. Nature has a moral consideration because degrading or preserving nature can harm or benefit humans. Anthropocentric can be conceptualized by two views. First one is superiority of human compared to animal, human welfare as a motive of ecological conservation. So anthropocentrism means the belief that other things such as nature, animal, and others are valuable if if they give the human benefit. So human will only consider to preserve or conserve or protect the nature if it will give harm to them. If they are not doing so. Okay, for example, kita makan ikan. Bagi anthropocentrism ni, ikan ni valuable sebab kita boleh makan ikan. Tapi bila ikan berkurang, supply of food berkurang, then baru dia orang akan consider sama ada nak preserve atau protect. Contohnya macam dia buat tiruan, cultivation, so that ikan ataupun ikan, the sources of ikan akan banyak and takkan give them hunger. So there are several critics on anthropocentrism. So this is your work. You will need to find what are the critics on anthropocentrism. So the second approach in ethical environment is ecocentrism. So this approach is to understand nature morally as nature has intrinsic value. It is a non-human centered view of the environment. Value in nature cannot be reduced to what promotes human well-being. So, ecocentrism ni it is contradict with anthropocentrism sebab ecocentrism ni dia put the nature into an account. The value of nature is not depending on the value given by human as it have its own value. So nature adalah bernilai, sama juga macam manusia, manusia pun bernilai, dua-dua bernilai, both ada value. So Leopold in the year 1949 called for a land ethic which no longer consider human being as the only being that matters. So Leopold dalam dia punya artikel bertajuk land ethics, dia yang start kata yang kita dah tak boleh consider human being ni sebagai the only things that matters. Our nature, our environment juga harus penting juga. Being that matters lah. So his land ethic enlarge the boundaries of community to include soil, water, plants, animal, or collectively the land. So since ecosystem is a whole of interacting and interdependent, either continuum or occasional, therefore, the thing is right when it tends to preserve the integrity, stability, and beauty of the biotic community. So kalau kes ikan tadi, orang makan ikan, so orang akan value ikan. Tapi kalau orang tak makan udang, dia orang takkan value udang sebab dia orang tak makan. Padahal udang ke ikan ke ketam ke sama sources dia. kan, hasil makanan laut juga. So ecocentrism ni dia trade ikan, udang, laut, batu karang dan benda-benda yang seangkatan dengan dia as valuable sebab they are all biotic community and depending on each other. The next, this perspective argued that species and ecosystem have an inherent worth and their good needs to be taken consideration. For example, ecocentrists claim that trees have a moral standing because they are self-maintaining systems. They grow and irritable in response to stimuli. They reproduce and resist dying. So trees and inanimate are not a moral agent who act responsibly for reason, but though as moral patient, which is any being towards whom we can have direct duties for its sake rather than simple indirect duties to how it affects us. So pokok ni dia valuable bukan sahaja sebab dia provide oxygen to human and absorb carbon dioxide, but it produce other benefit also. Apart from that, it is valuable sebab pokok tu sendiri dia ada own role. For example, dia boleh reproduce sendiri so that new trees will grow without kita as a human perlu tanam. Okay, so you will need to find what are the critics on ecocentrism. Okay, moving to the third approach in ethical environment, which is deep ecology. So, the term deep ecology was first used by Ernest 1973. So, it is a variation within the perspective of ecocentrism. It takes the holistic view of nature. It advocates a deeper approach to find the root cause of environmental degradation. The idea is that our environmental problems are deeply rooted in the Western culture, which is dominance. Okay, so what does it mean by dominance? Dominant, actually, they are emphasizing on the relationship of human to non-human, masculine over feminine, powerful over the poor. So, in simpler words, they believe that environmental degradation ni dia terjadi sebab the human, kita as a human pentingkan kita punya human needs as compared to what happened to the nature. Apa yang terjadi dekat manusia ni, dia believe that apa yang terjadi dekat manusia ni lagi penting dari apa yang terjadi pada nature as long as it fulfill the needs of the human. So they put the human need first rather than what happening on the outside. Okay? So deep ecology was coined by Ernest, a Norwegian philosopher in 1986. So deep ecology believed that the well-being and flourishing of human and non-human life on Earth has its value, thus independent of the useful of non-human to human. The richness and diversity of life forms contributes to realization of this value. Humans have no right to reduce this richness and diversity except to satisfy vital needs. So deep ecology believes that living environment and nature should be respected and regarded as having certain basic moral and legal right to live and flourish, independent of its instrumental benefit for human use. So the flourishing of human life and cultures is compatible with a substantial decrease of human population. The flourishing of non-human life requires such a decrease. So kat sini, deep ecology, the belief that uh, macam manusia, manusia akan ada yang hidup dan akan ada yang juga mati. So that population akan balance lah. Bila ada yang baru, yang lama pun pergi. So they believe that that is help the population to be balanced lah. So again, same goes to environment ataupun tumbuhan ataupun animal, as human population increase, they should also increase, bukan semakin berkurang. However, the present human interference with the non-human world is excessive and rapidly worsening, which cause the nature to become degrade and makin berkurang. So that's why deep ecology encourage biodiversity preservation, human population control, and simple living in which human tak boleh depending on nature sangat. So people in deep ecology ni dia nak keseimbangan between human and non-human. Tak ada yang lebih, tak ada yang kurang. Banyak mana yang hidup, banyak mana human yang hidup, banyak tu jugalah the nature yang perlu hidup, yang perlu ada, so that the ecology would be balanced. So next, the policies that affect economics, technological and ideological structures must therefore change. So this group, the deep ecology group, believe that reductionism, individualism and consumerism are the causes of our environmental problems. Thus, to solve the environmental problem, humans have to change their view on what is good quality life. In order to change human view on nature, a movement called cultivating ecological consciousness, which is it cultivating the insight that everything is connected. So this movement is a process of learning how to be more receptive, trusting, holistic in perception, and grounded in a vision of non-exploitative science and technology. So deep ecology actually it teach us on how to hidup secara sederhana. Ya. Selain daripada hidup secara bersederhana, it teach us ataupun it encourage us to reduce any technology or policy yang boleh exploit the nature so that the nature can be preserved. So basically, this deep ecology, dia punya fahaman ni agak radikal sebab dia seolah-olah menolak kemajuan dengan menerapkan kesederhanaan sampai tahap kena kawal birth control semua, so that kita tak akan guna nature dengan banyak. Sebab tadi kan saya cakap, they believe that human dengan non-human kena balance. Kalau human berkurang, kalau non-human berkurang, human pun kena berkurang. Okay, moving to the next approach, which is ecofeminism. So ecofeminism ni bunyi pun feminism. So it basically derived based on the feminist view lah terhadap environment. So basically ecofeminism ni has emerged some 20 years ago. So it identified the sources of environmental problems in social practice. So it holds that we should look to particular social patterns and structure to discover what is wrong with our relationship with the environment. They believe that the problem lies in the male-centered view of nature, human domination over nature. So dia salahkan lelaki, kata lelaki yang salah. This approach acknowledges the difference between male and female perspective towards the environment. So basically, ecofeminism, ecofeminist thinker ni, they draw on the concept of gender to analyze the relationship between human and the natural world. So they believe that human treat our environment macam lelaki layan perempuan. Human rasa dia lagi dominant dari environment, so they tend to be abusive. So when we talk about feeling dominant, there is no give and take, no collaboration, and feel one is superior than other. So ecofeminist ni dia ada pengaruh feminism lah, feminis, which dia orang nak hak sama rata between human as well as environment. Okay, so as I said previously, ecofeminism ni dia ada pengaruh daripada feminis. So this approach comes from the women experience and nature as a nurturing, compassionate, and empathic being. So, women tend to value relationship, caring, and emotion. Rights with cooperation and community thus reflect these values in its treatment towards the environment as compared to men yang lebih kasar, ganas, dan kurang penyayang. So they believe that our nature and environment should be treated well, uh, disayangi, dicintai, dikasihi dan dijaga dengan rapi lah. So apart from that, we should treat the environment ibarat kita in a relationship. How we treat our partner well, same goes to um, how kita treat our environment lah. So, macam mana kita treat our partner, kita sayang dia, macam tu lah kita kena treat our environment. So ecofeminism dia argues that uh, there are tiga argument, which is the first one. Um, it emphasizes too much of rationality at the expense of emotion growth in decision making. So, environmental ethics abstract principle of justice ignores the complex and particular nature of an ethical situation. Um, and individual should be understood based on a caring relationship heavily featuring emotion rather than a particular human capacity. So moving to the next subtopic, which is ecology. So what is ecology? Ecology is the study of interaction among living things and their environment. Ecology is the study of the relationship between living organisms, including humans, and their physical environment. So it seeks to understand the vital connection between plants and animals and the world around them. So it also provides information about the benefit of ecosystem and how we can use Earth resources in ways that leave the environment healthy for future generations. So ecology ni provide us with a proper way and a systematic way in how we can use natural resources secara berhemah dan teratur. Dalam masa yang sama juga, will not give negative impact for future generation. Sekiranya kalau kita nak buat pertanian, pembalakan boleh, tangkap ikan boleh. Tapi with a proper and controlled way in which will not affect the ecosystem. So, ecological ethics has limited ability in identifying and clarifying ethical issues. Is it also have limited ability to provide moral guidance to professional in ecological research and conservation practice. So it is also a practical or scientific ethics that offers a superior approach to the ethical dilemma of the ecologists and conservation managers lah. So ethical dilemma faced by researchers and practitioners in biomedical science, such as proper treatment of human subject, meaning and scope of informed consent, and end of life decision. So bukan tugas manusia untuk menghidupkan atau mematikan sesuatu yang hidup atau yang bernyawa lah. So in certain situation, there are some ethical dilemma yang dihadapi oleh manusia ataupun researcher ataupun any other person dalam menentukan apakah yang terbaik based on our judgment. So ecological ethics basically deals with specific ethical issues and guidance based on the world context. There is also social risks from the emerging new areas such as nanotechnology and neuroscience, which raise ethical questions. So the ethical question concern on the design, conduct and administration of ecological field and lab research. So in testing the technology, most of the time researcher ni akan menggunakan haiwan. Kalau kita tengok um, video-video ke filem ke ataupun in the reality world lah, Dia akan guna haiwan-haiwan such as monyet, tikus, arnab and others lah untuk test the teknologi ataupun ubat-ubatan or the vaccines. Sebab kita kalau boleh tak nak risikokan manusia untuk face any consequences. Walaupun nampak kejam sebab kita manipulate animals, maybe they have no alternative way. So this is one of the ethical dilemma faced by them, either to save the human or being kind to the animal. Okay, for the ethics of cost and benefit, there is always conflicting values in environmental issues. So how to measure the intangible values of environment? So the first one is we can do assessment. So assessment is a determination or description of these factual matters as far as they can be known. Contohnya kita buat test, kita forecast ataupun kita buat prediction lah. The second measure that we can do is evaluation. Evaluation is the establishment of relative values. So lepas kita buat test, kita buat prediction or others, kita nilai, kita evaluate whether it brings benefit or not. Okay. The third one is CBA. CBA is cost benefit analysis evaluation. So dalam CBA, the benefit must be greater than cost. Bila benefit greater than cost, barulah kita kata kita ada profit ataupun kita ada greater outcome. For example, kita keluarkan dana berjuta-juta ringgit nak buat penanaman semula pokok bakau. Kalau kita tengok macam rugi keluarkan duit untuk tanam pokok bakau. Kita nampak rugi dari segi duit, tapi hasilnya nanti bakau kita tu akan terpelihara. Bila banyak bakau, akan berkuranglah hakisan pantai, kuranglah ribut taufan. Itu adalah antara benefit yang kita perlu take into consideration juga lah. Dan setakat kita rasa rugi keluar duit tak, kita tengok what are the benefit gain from the cost that we have allocate. So the concept of sustainability. So what is sustainability? So literally, sustainability is defined as the quality of being able to continue over a period of time. Sustainable is berkekalan ataupun berterusan lah. So kalau kita exploit the nature, how we can ensure that our natural resources can be sustained to our next generation. So maybe we can protect and preserve or maybe look into alternative resources. For example, petrol. Tak, petrol harga 12,000 kan? Tak. Saya tak ingat lah jenama apa, tapi ada harga 12,000 yang viral kat Facebook kan. So dia boleh cut off the usage of petrol and of course bila tak guna petrol dia akan mengurangkan pencemaran udara. So the physical development and institutional operating practice that meet the need of present users without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs, particularly with regard to use and waste of natural resources. So sustainability takes into account how we might live in harmony with the natural world around us, protecting it from damage and disruption. So according to United Nations define sustainable development as a development that meets the need of the present without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. So there are three aims and objectives of sustainable development which they want to maintain the economic advancement and progress. They want to also protect the long-term value of environment as well as provide frameworks for the integration of environment policies and development strategies. So sustainable development they concern on the preservation of the environment emerged in Pego discussion of externalities. So, externalities are conceived as transaction spillover or cost and benefit unaccounted for in the given price of a product or service. And externality is um, basically the cost or benefit that affect a third party who did not choose to incur that cost or benefit. So basically, externalities ni adalah uh, effect on the third party yang um, tak nak dia terpaksa untuk hadap apa yang berlaku. Contohnya, government nak buat jalan. Jadi dia tarah bukit, dia tarah hutan nak buat jalan untuk elakkan congestion. Jadi bila dia dah buat jalan, kesesakan lalu lintas pun berkurang. Tapi the externalities adalah orang yang duduk di sekitar yang tak terlibat dengan perancangan jalan. Contohnya, dia akan rasa yang sebelum ni taman perumahan dia aman, sekarang dia bunyi lalu-lalang kereta, sebelum ni selamat, dan dia orang kena berhati-hati sebab kereta dah mula banyak. So that is externalities lah. So, the evolution of sustainable development focus the cause of externalities. For example, pollution is inefficient use of resources, environment and economy, win-win approach, environment and development interdependence. So, healthy environments such as clean air and water are considered public goods which are non-rivalrous and non-excludable. Maksudnya clean water and air ni semua orang nak. Semua orang nak clean water and clean air. Tak ada siapa yang tak nak. Itu semua perlukan sama rata the clean air. Itu takkan ada persaingan untuk siapa berebut the clean air. As a government yang ada power to control this, so it is up to them untuk maintain the provision of these goods and services lah. So for example, in Malaysia kita ada Syabas, syarikat bekalan air yang uruskan air. Kita ada SW Corp yang urus solid waste management and many more. The overall goal of sustainable development is the long-term sustainability of the economy and the environment. It is achievable to the integration and acknowledgement of economic, environment, and social concern in the decision making. So weak sustainability happen when man-made and manufactures capital matters. So bila sustainability ni dia akan jadi weak bila apa yang kita buat ni adalah semata-mata profit oriented. Penting kita nak untung, kita tak kira nature macam mana. So situlah situasi apabila we are facing weak sustainability. So strong sustainability is when natural resources are considered as the irreplaceable capital. So sustainability ni adalah strong bila kita treat national resources as something valuable. Kita takut untuk kehilangan, eh? Jadi kita jaga dia so that benda tu akan maintain ada for our future generation. So there are three pillars of sustainable development. The first one is economic development, which is consumerism, supply and demand of goods and services. First, social development, maintaining basic resources to ensure quality of life, public participation on sustainability. The third one is environmental protection, concern on technology driving greener future biotechnology to enhance biotechnology to sustain and protect environment from damage from the technology technology use. So, for the Sustainable Development Goal (SDG), the United Nations Conference of Sustainable Development met in Rio in 2005 and commit to the achievement of Sustainable Development Goals. So, Development Goal is a universal set of goals, target and indicators for global sustainability and human development, which United Nations members adopted in 2015. So it aims to be achieved by the year 2030. So it is an extension to the previous Millennium Development Goals (MDG). Its 17 goals primarily intended for the well-being of human beings. So according to a human development approach, the focus of SDG is people and their well-being as the end of the development, whereas all the effort and processes contributing to its enhancement become the means. So we have 17 sustainable development goals, which is the first one uh, is uh, no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitization, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduce inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice and strong institutions, as well as partnership for the goals. So, for the Sustainable Development Goals paradigm, according to Greeks et al., um, sustainable development in the Anthropocene development that meet the need of the present, eh, the development that meet the needs of the present or society while safeguarding the Earth's life support system on which the welfare of current and future generation depends. So you can refer article written by David Griggs later in the island for further readings. Okay. To conclude, it is the humanity that drives the global environmental change. So manusia adalah tangan-tangan yang merosakkan, dan manusia jugalah yang boleh jaga, preserve and protect the nature. Eh, Manusia juga, manusia diberi tanggungjawab untuk preserve and protect the nature for the sake of our future generation. So that's all for this chapter. I hope you can understand well. If you have any issues, questions, please contact me and I will explain further. So that's all for today. Thank you.